Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Welcome to the Week 6 Monday Night Football Draftkings Showdown breakdown. We've got a fantastic game between the Buffalo Bills, who have basically been piling up points all season since Week 1, and the Tennessee Titans, who have struggled to pile up points a lot, though they have a lot of great offensive weapons, finally getting all of them back on the field at the same time. But we have some concerns with AJ Brown going into this week. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys had a fantastic Week 6 main slate. We're going to do the recap on the second channel. As always, I record that live on Twitch. I'm on live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to like noon Pacific time, and then Sunday right before kickoff. So you can catch the recap and the first look for Week 7 live on Monday morning, or you can watch it here on YouTube. The first look is on the main channel. The recap is on the second channel, Al Smizzle Games. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell. Let me know how you're doing down below in the replies. But Monday Night Football's waiting, so let's hit it.
He's a legend.
So as you know, we have a great game this Monday night. The Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans. The total is 53. The Bills are favored by 6 points. They have a team total, implied team total, do the Bills, of 29.5 points. The Titans at 23.5. I would assume that most of the lineups are going to be centered around the Bills and their offense. If you want to be contrarian, build a lineup that says maybe the Titans win this game. So however that means that the Titans are going to win the game, that's how you can go about building contrarian lineups. Single game showdown is pretty simple in the sense that you want to just, one, there's a ton of variance because it's only one game. Two, you want to build the story that you're trying to tell through those lineups. So like if the lineup builders and if you're using an optimizer, it's pretty straightforward and simple how those things go. It's going to project for the higher scoring team to have more points. If you build it, you're going to have more of those players in your lineups. So if you want to flip the script, build a lineup a different way. So let's take a look at Buffalo first. The first thing that I did want to hit on is that Zach Moss has basically taken over the #1 running back job for Buffalo. He's outsnapping Singletary 3-1 last week and outsnapped him previously the week before. Also last week, he had 14 touches to Singletary's 7 touches. So Singletary definitely in the backup spot, and they are priced accordingly. Both at captain and at the other spot. So like this is kind of flipped here. We saw Singletary doing well and running the ball early in the season. They seem to have preferred Moss. He has taken over the job, or at least did last week. I expect that to continue moving forward, but it could just yo-yo back and forth as the season goes along. But usually that's going to be atypical to see a team start giving snaps to a player and then see that just flip back randomly. The Bills don't seem to be a very hot hand type of offense, so when they make a move that's that drastic, it's telling. But if you think that Singletary is going to take over the #1 job, go for it. Moss also out touching Singletary when it comes to those very valuable inside the 5 touches. Josh Allen, though, also extremely likely to be the recipient of a rushing touchdown, as much or more so than Moss or Singletary. It's kind of a tough situation on the ground when you're the running back 1 on the Bills, who are such a pass-centric, pass-heavy offense with a quarterback who's as much of a bulldozer and calls his own number, rightfully so, once they get inside the 5-yard line. The one player that I think is set for a bounce is Stephon Diggs, who is 10th in the league in terms of overall targets. It's not like they have not been looking his way, or Josh Allen has not been looking his way. He's 2nd in the league in terms of air yards entering Week 6. Obviously, that's going to get altered with all the Sunday games and the London game and the Thursday night game and everything else. Like, it might jumble in there, but like one of the top recipients in terms of air yards in the league, and tied for 3rd in the league in terms of end zone targets. End zone targets go the furthest way to sustainability in terms of touchdowns, and the problem is he only has 1. So you would expect that number to regress. You'd expect his yards to regress. You would expect his catches to regress, all in a positive manner towards the mean, which means more fantasy points for Steph Diggs, who is kind of disappointed as a first-round pick so far this season. I would expect him to be a major bounce. If you have not tried to go get Steph Diggs in your friends and family leagues, you probably should. That window might close like as soon as this game. Looking at Buffalo's targets, let's make this a little bit bigger, huh? You guys can see this a little bigger, a little better if I make it bigger. This is where Josh Allen goes with the ball. Steph Diggs, almost 27% of the target market share there. Only one touchdown, as I said. Cole Beasley, second, and we know that Cole Beasley does better against teams that play zone than he does against man. Emmanuel Sanders has been absolutely fantastic this year, 18.4% of the targets and 4 touchdowns. And Dawson Knox having himself a season with 5 touchdowns so far on 13.4% of the targets. And again, Steph Diggs getting 12 total red zone targets, 29%. Again, it stays kind of constant. Don't get close to the goal line and stop targeting Steph Diggs. He's just been ridiculously unlucky. Then Dawson Knox, the second most likely guy to catch a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders getting a lot of downfield looks, but also has a role once they get close. So if I'm building lineups around Josh Allen and captain, I'm going to make sure that I do 2 things. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to have 2 players out of his pass catching group. I'm not going to include the running backs in the group. I will include Beasley. I will also include their kicker. I will also include Gabriel Davis, who is like the 5th option in the pass game for them. Not getting a whole lot of targets, but he's priced higher than a guy who's like the 5th option normally is, and we're not even counting the running backs in this situation. So like his flex price at 3K, he's kind of at 2K, he's kind of expensive in that spot to warrant playing there. But if he wanders into the end zone, he becomes kind of a guy that you're going to have to play at in your lineups if you want to win in single game showdown, unless everybody else goes off. I'm not saying that I would go after him. I typically look for guys like Gabe Davis at sub 1K. He's priced up at 2K. It's tough to get to him in this spot. The second group that I'm going to build here is going to be something that includes basically everyone. And if you're hand building or using the Fantasy Labs lineup builder, you can do the same thing. I'm including every single player on the opposing offense. Chet Rogers might be involved in that. We'll talk about AJ Brown in just a second. Ferguson would be in there, not the kicker. Basically, anybody who's going to contribute on offense, make sure that at least one of those is in every Josh Allen lineup. You're not going to coordinate Josh Allen with the opposing defense. Doesn't throw a ton of interceptions. Yes, he can fumble from time to time, but he's become very, very, very efficient quarterback. And if he has a game where he is the likely captain, the defense is probably not going to be in that optimal lineup. Looking at the other side of the ball, the Titans, this is a weird situation because basically if you're playing Titans, you're playing Derrick Henry. The Titans are at home, even though they're underdogs in this game, and Derrick Henry has seen, outside of week 5 against Jacksonville, way more targets this year. Great job, Titans. Way to throw the ball to the biggest beast you got on offense, who, when he gets the ball in space, can just run over DBs. They finally figured that out this year, and they have been throwing the ball, even though they did not throw it to him, and they didn't need to. They won 37-19 in week 5. So the Bills have allowed the 3rd least DraftKings points to opposing running backs. Now, some of that could be the fact that they haven't really played any teams that have been able to go after the run. Aside from like Pittsburgh with Najee Harris, who they kind of stuffed in week 1. They played Kansas City, who's primarily a pass-first offense. Washington, who does not do a good job running the ball. Miami, also not a good team to run the ball. And Houston, not good at running the football. And they've played from ahead in most of their games. Have the Bills. It's like if I bring them up, you can see how good that defense has been, obviously. And they've outscored opponents 172-64. That's not a typo. They are basically steamrolling everybody, including that 40-0 shellacking against Houston a couple of weeks ago. So teams aren't in a position to be able to run the ball against them. And the easiest way to keep that potent Bills offense off the field is to give King Henry the ball 30 plus times in a game. So while that might be Tennessee's plan A this week, we'll see if they can, we've got the immovable force versus the impenetrable object, essentially. Like, nobody can tackle Derrick Henry, and when you give him the ball 25 to 30 plus times, he's pretty much a lock to get you 100 plus yards. With as solid as he has been, 3 of their games on the road, they have not faced very good defenses with Jacksonville and the Giants and Seattle. It's like he's just rolling over everybody, and he would if they were good defense too. He's abolished. He's run over really good defenses in the past. This is the stiffest test that he's going to face this year. Now, if they can't do that, it's going to be tough considering the injuries that they've got. Now, AJ Brown was supposed to be on a pitch count coming into this game, but now He's listed on Sunday, as I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon during the later games, with an illness now. So this is AJ Brown's flu game where he was already supposed to be on a pitch count. We assumed that Tre'Davious White, the talented cornerback on Buffalo, would be drawing him, but now with this injury that he's coming back from, was already going to be at a pitch count. Maybe now it's not. And now they also have coming back Julio Jones coming back from an injury, who's looked really good in the few games that he has played out of the 5 that they have seen so far. Maybe Tre'Davious covers him. So like, we don't know where they're going to send Tre'Davious White, or if they're going to stick him to a side or just have him roam around or have him shadow like as they normally do. But if AJ Brown's only a field for half the snaps, maybe he just kind of sees a little bit of Julio Jones and a little bit of AJ Brown. So both of them do project to see White at some point. Julio has seen his longest average air yards per attempt in the last few years. He has also done exceptionally well against Seattle, but everybody does exceptionally well against Seattle. This is going to be a tough test for this offense. But if you're building one of those lineups where you either think that Tennessee is going to be involved in this shootout, maybe they give up 35 or 40 points to the Bills, but they score 28 or 30 themselves, and you're going to place Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, assuming that he's going to be able to keep pace and has one of his big games where maybe he runs in a touchdown, throws for 3, and get you the 300-yard bonus. We're going to build a group. I'm not going to include Henry in my Tannehill group. I am going to include AJ Brown, Julio Jones. We're going to have to monitor Chet Rogers. He's questionable for Monday. If he's in, he'll be included in that group, as will Ferkser, as will their kicker. And then you figure out basically who's left, Westbrook Inkine or whoever else is available. You know, Josh Reynolds ran a bunch of routes last week and didn't get any targets. You just got to figure out which 2 you want to make sure you're with, because if Tannehill's going to be the viable captain, he will definitely be able to support 2 pass catchers. We're going to build that bring back group as well. And the other thing that we're going to do is, if you think that somebody like Julio Jones is going to be the viable captain, I do this every single showdown slate when I'm doing this. If he's going to be the viable captain, I'm going to make sure that Ryan Tannehill is attached to him. Same goes for every single pass catcher on the list. So taking a look over at the Fantasy Labs lineup builder, the one that I'm using to build lineups for these showdowns, I've got my own template set. You can see it right here. You can save this for yourself. I allow 90% of the cap to be spent. So I'm going to let it leave some salary on the table in order to build those lineups. I'm going to not allow a kicker or a defense to show up in captain. If a kicker shows up in captain or a defense shows up in captain as the optimal captain on that night, I'm just not going to win that night. I'm going to make sure that I max each captain quarterback at probably 10% or 7 or 8%. I don't like to have a whole lot of quarterback captains, and these are the groups that we talked about. Pair your captain quarterback with at least 2 of the wide receiver, tight ends, and kickers from the same team. Pair your captain quarterback with at least somebody on the offense from the opponent. Pair your captain, and not a defense or a kicker. Pair your captain wide receiver with exactly 1 quarterback from the same team. If you have a wide receiver captain, if you have a tight end captain, this rule forces it to pair the quarterback with them as well, and limit to at most 1 defense or kicker from the same game. We're going to apply those settings. We're going to have it build 150 lineups. We're going to build them by the floor, because there's too many people that want to just fast forward to this point in the video and see if they can copy a lineup off of the internet, off of YouTube, to try and use it. These are not what my lineups are going to look like. I have spent absolutely no time. This is a very vanilla run of these lineups using the Fantasy Labs lineup builder. But if you build by ceiling like I do during the regular slate, you massage your allocations, your groups, you make sure that everything comes out the way that you want, you'll have a better chance of building for those mini max or the big tournament, the $15 2.25 million. So don't copy these lineups. They're completely worthless. You got to spend a lot of time making the lineup builder do what you want it to do to make it dance. So thank you for watching the video. Drop a like, subscribe, ring the bell. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.